Hi everyone, it's Vic Tilson here, and today I'm looking at a very old painting I wanted to show you. Going through some old stuff just to kind of document it. Now I've got a better camera and come across this one. So this one is going back to 1990, and back in those days I was using watercolor. So I started using watercolor, obviously, so pretty easy to do to kind of handle watercolors. But after about 15 years, I think I migrated to acrylics mid 90s, something, no, probably later than that, actually, late 90s. Yeah, so this is a watercolor and pencil. It's actually lasted quite well, actually, over the test of time. So, I mean, it's quite a few years old now, 1990. But you can see maybe this is kind of how I started. I mean, how old was I at that stage? I was probably late 20s, I'm thinking, something like that. I was trying to start to explore some of the shading and stuff like that. I've used a graphite pencil on this one actually, because I really just used to like using graphite. And actually, if I even touch this, actually the paint is really weird actually compared to today's paint. It feels quite grainy, but I guess back in those days it was. And also plus the fact I didn't have money to buy posh paints and stuff like that, so you know. I mean, back in these days when I was making this kind of stuff, God, nobody even knew I painted, to be honest. And I didn't even know what abstract painting was. I didn't, never seen anything, didn't have any books, no internet, nothing like that. Never learned anything at school about it. But I just liked painting these kind of angular shapes and colours. Ironically, from that, I don't really use green anymore these days, but I don't know, liked it. And yeah, I didn't know what I was doing, but I just kind of always liked painting. So this was a beginning of my kind of serious painting, I guess probably from the mid 80s onwards, I suppose. And in my spare time, that's what I do. Come home from work and I'd start painting. And didn't show anybody anything really. Nobody ever knew what I did. Nobody ever saw it. All that kind of thing started years and years later. But so I'm just going back through some of the older stuff now. But you can kind of see some of the traits of my shapes and things that you might see in later pieces, especially this kind of swirling stuff around here, interlinking of shapes, which is something I do quite a lot. And black, I used to love using black. I still use black now and again, not often, I have to say, because it's not a very popular colour, but I used to like using black quite a lot. And for anybody who knows my work, there is one very unusual thing about this, and that is the spelling of my name. That is my birth name, Victor Tilson. Victor spelt with a C. Long story, but when I was doing an exhibition in the late 90s, when all the brochures and stuff were done on the exhibition, the curator misspelt my name and spelt it with a K. Much to my sort of astonishment, couldn't work out why that happened. It was too late then, and the exhibition was actually happening already, so and stuff was out there, so I had no choice but to keep it like that. So kind of sort of early 90s, I thought, I don't know, actually, perhaps I'll keep it with a K. So there was a definite moment when my signature did change. So this is one of the earlier pieces in my birth name. So most people say, oh, why is it spelled with a K, Victor with a K? But that's the reason why. One of those happy accidents that just happen, really. So there we go. So this is a very old 1990. This painting, watercolor. I got some very, very large watercolours. In mid-90s, I was doing very large watercolours, about a metre. And I hope to upload some of those soon. So I want to archive those as well. So there we go. Thanks a lot for your time looking at this painting. As I say, it's quite an old one, but very nice to bring it back into the public domain again. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, can't say subscribe today, subscribe, please do so. Just hit the old little icon there. That'd be absolutely super. That helps me, it helps the channel. And also, if you want to share the channel, share any feeds, anything you see, absolutely just feel happy to do that. It's not a problem whatsoever. And yeah, just share abstract art. There's a lot of work that's hidden away. It's you know, people need to kind of get into this work a little bit more, especially in the UK. It's got a bit of a not a great name, perhaps, you know, years ago. Abstract, people just couldn't get into it, but you know, break down those barriers, take a look at something perhaps you wouldn't normally take a look at, and just enjoy what you see. Doesn't hurt anybody, just takes a few minutes of your time, and you might like what you see. So that's all I ask, really. So thank you very much for your time. Social media links will be down below, and check back for more details. Thanks a lot.